I mentioned, almost like a nitro infusion. It's very sort of creamy and silky.
Carbonation is perfect. They're beer elves. Can't wait to get in the glass.
This is intense because I can see that you're torn. All right, this is an exciting one. Okay, out of all the wheat beers, my friend, that we've reviewed this summer, and we have had the most epic summer of wheat beers that you could possibly imagine here at Beer Brackets. This one I've never tried. I've been so excited to try this one. I've been waiting. I've been seeing it on the beer shelves here and just being like, this is a special one. I need to save this for a special occasion where Alessandro and I are sitting down in the right environment. I envisioned a wheat beer summer years ahead of time thinking this is going to happen. There's going to be a special occasion of which we need to review this wheat beer, and I'm going to save it. And here it is from the Paulaner Brewery in Munich, Germany. The Paulaner wheat beer. Oh boy, I am so excited, buddy, to try this one. We don't have to talk about the history of the Paulaner Brewery because we have gone so in depth on the Paulaner Brewery. Go back and check out our Paulaner Salvatore review and also the Paulaner Helles review, where we go deep into the history of the brewery. We talk about fasting monks in a way that will fascinate you.
I was going to say those monks wizards.
Oh my God, those monks. Those monks have gotten up to some trouble in their lifetimes, my friend. And they have gotten up to some beer trouble, I must say. I think we just need to get straight into the review. We need to get right into this beer. Is there anything you need to say about this beer before we get started? The good beer drinkers at home need to know.
The only thing I was going to add is that, like you said, for you it's the first time. It's the first time for me too. So that's even a more special occasion, my friend.
Ring the beer bell? What? The first time for both of us?
Yeah.
That's so rare. That is so rare in a review setting that this happens. So that's awesome. This is amazing, man. I don't even know what to say. Paulaner's great because on their bottles and cans, they have this scenery, this beautiful Munich beer garden scenery. And you can see the chestnut trees. And if you're curious about the legend of the chestnut trees,
that's a good
go
one.
back and watch our Helles review, Paulaner Helles review, where Alessandro blows my mind coming into the episode to talk about chestnut trees, and he just knew what the whole history of these chestnut trees were and why they recommend you drink the beer under a chestnut tree. But I digress. My friend, let's crack these beers open and let's get right into it. I'm so excited.
Let's do it, my friend. Let's do it. And like you pointed out, it really puts you in the right mood seeing this little scene there on the bottle. Like it makes you feel like you're in a beer garden.
You see all these little, almost like impish characters here, and enjoying the bearded man with the feather in his cap, enjoying a nice beer on a table under a chestnut tree.
They're beer elves.
They are like beer elves. They depict them as beer elves. It's pretty amazing. And there's always the woman in the bustier carrying so much beer.
She likes to carry. She's carrying like 3 giant mugs here, just like nothing.
That's amazing. That if you ask me, that's the most impressive skill there is.
Oh yeah.
I was a waiter for one summer, and if I was trying to carry like 2 glasses of Coke and a plate on a tray, it would just be a disaster. It would spill everywhere. I was the worst waiter imaginable. So when I see these people with and sometimes layers of Steins,
multiple ones, right?
Yeah, piled, balanced. I don't know. It's wizardry, my friend, and
it really
there's
is.
So many different levels of wizardry in beer.
Oh, look at the carbonation here.
Oh my God, this aroma! Wow. This is Germany's #1 wheat beer, which is a big statement because we've already reviewed Erdinger. I mean, there are so many. There's Hackersfor. There's so many amazing wheat beers that come out of Germany. And for this to be Germany's #1, oh my God, dude, that aroma. Wow. But cheers, buddy. What do you think?
Cheers to you, my friend. Cheers to you. Such a pleasure reviewing a beer together for the first time. That's fantastic.
You know what? This is what this is all about. There's 2 main elements to the Beer Brackets concept and channel. One is the beer hunt, going to your local store and finding amazing rare beers that you want to try. But the second is this, hanging out with a good beer buddy, trying a new beer, and enjoying it together. That's what it's all about.
That's the essence. My friend. Couldn't have said it better. Oh, wow. So see, you get that stronger banana estery presence. Like here, I really smell that classic banana. A little bit of that clove component too. Very strong and nice malty presence. Like it's almost like bready, but it has a bit of a cakey element to it. A slightly bit of sweetness.
Yeah.
That I really like that. Like it's just a fantastic combination. So 3 on 3 for me, my friend. Can't wait to get in the glass. What are you thinking?
Can't wait. I just want to skip through this category, get straight to the taste. The thing that blew my mind when I first took a sniff of this, there's almost like a burnt toasted character to it. Are you getting that?
Yeah, I can see that now that you mentioned that. For
that
sure.
was really strong for me when I first stuck my nose. I'm like, oh my God, that's delicious. It's almost like a toast, like a toasted bread. But
yes,
you know what? You know what I'm going to compare this to, and this is going to be the most niche, most specific niche descriptor I have ever thrown out there on Beer Bracket.
Let's see.
Okay. But you're going to understand this. So do you remember the first time you came to visit Montreal and we went to St. Viateur Bagel?
Yes.
In the Mile End neighborhood of Montreal. So Montreal bagels are very specific. When you toast one of those bagels, it has a very specific, unique aroma. That is exactly for somehow, through some beer wizardry that I cannot comprehend or explain right now, I am getting a toasted St. Viateur bagel from this aroma. But toasted bread, toasty malt, however you want to describe that, you can get that character. That's the biggest thing for me. Like a toasted sesame seed, if you can think of that. Like
I can see that, my friend. I think that's a very good descriptor. Like the bagel, like a bagel that has been like toasted a little bit, like that
yeah.
almost like that crust that has like almost sweetness. But yeah, I can definitely see that. That's
but specifically like the same, because they have the sesame seeds on them. Like there's that specific, if you've ever toasted sesame seeds or had like a sesame oil, kind of like that. And then there's the underlying banana clove, like those estery characteristics. This is by far a 3 on 3 for me. This is the best wheat beer aroma I have ever smelled in my whole life. No wonder this is Germany's #1 wheat beer. Holy crap. All right, buddy. Let's get this sip out of the way.
Cheers.
Cheers, man. Let's taste this for the first time together. Here we go. Okay. Okay, wait. Before we go any further, I must ask you something.
Okay.
Do you have the beer gong handy?
I do. It's right there behind.
Because I'm going to set an Amber Alert right now that we might have potentially a perfect beer on our hands. I'm not going to say we do, because there's a lot of categories left, but we could potentially have a perfect beer here. So I'm glad you have the beer gong handy.
No, of course, my friend. Like that's always handy, like just in case. You never know.
All right.
And my goodness, let me take another sip of this.
Way ahead of you, buddy. Way ahead of you.
Wow. So
how have I never had this beer before?
This is quite something. On the taste specifically, there's an element. I like that bagel descriptor that you used, but I would elevate it because it just like brings out, for me, is this like, clove is probably the closest I can get to it.
Yeah.
But there's this very unique note that just comes through after you take the sip, and it just is absolutely fantastic. Going on your bagel comparison, I would say more than sesame seed, I think for me is like that same note that you get with the poppy seeds on top of a bagel. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So that element,
seed.
Toasted bagel, delicious, still banana and a little bit of clove.
Yeah.
3 on 3, my friend. This is fantastic. Yeah. What do you think?
Everything you just said, it's a 3 on 3. I don't even know how to describe it better than you did. And again, if we had a category for aesthetics, it's almost like it's nitrogen infused. Look at it. You see how like the head is so creamy?
Yeah. It's amazing.
Good job. Every Paulaner beer that I've ever had, fantastic. What a brewery.
They know what they're doing, those wizards. Monks.
They know what they are doing. Sesame. I never thought that was a descriptor I'd use in beer, but oh, geez, it's there. It's delicious, man. Now we got to do mouthfeel. We got to give it a little refresher here. Beer bracket tradition.
Let's do it, my friend. This is going to be quite a special.
At this beer. Oh my Lord, look at this. The cloudiness. It's so perfectly cloudy. This is the category. This is the one I think that could make or break the perfect beer the perfect beer rating here. So be very careful with your reading. Be very honest.
Yep.
But, think it through.
This is a tough one because there's a few elements here. Carbonation is perfect. Like nothing to say there. Like there's good levels in my opinion. Creaminess that I found for example, the Erdinger that we reviewed recently was a little bit more on the crisp side. This one here has the perfect amount of creaminess, like that nice coating, silkiness.
This has the creaminess that you said the Erdinger was lacking.
Exactly. It has like that balance. Like it's just beautifully done. There is let me take another reading here. I gotta do that.
This is intense because I can see that you're torn, you're battling here. I can almost see it, but you're I don't know if I can let you in. You're keeping that door to the round table shut.
It's tough. Considering that it's the first beer experience, so and I'm just strictly judging the mouthfeel. I mean, it honestly has everything I like about it. So I'm going to stick with the 3 on 3. I was trying to think if there's anything that I'm not sure about, but really there's not. It's very, very well done in my opinion.
I've never had a better wheat beer. This is so fresh. There's no residue on your palate whatsoever, but it still has that thick, creamy body that you would expect from a wheat beer, but achieves that without being oily or too thick. And there's this perfect level of creamy carbonation. It's not a sharp carbonation by any stretch of the imagination. It's a creamy carbonation. Like I mentioned, almost like a nitro infusion. It's very sort of creamy and silky. It's a 3 on 3. Mouthfeel for me, man, 100%. Oh my God, we're approaching perfect beer category.
It's getting there, my friend. It's getting there.
I'm nervous. I'm actually nervous here. This is and one thing I must mention, as we've gotten further along in our beer exploration journey, perfect beers have not come along often. We've gotten pickier as we've progressed in our journey here in our exploration. It's not the same as it was 2 years ago at the beginning of beer brackets where, maybe we would have given a perfect beer label to a beer that wouldn't get it today because we've just experienced our exploration has gone so much further. What do you think about the finish?
Oof, the finish, my friend. One of the things that I like about good finish is when a beer can not only convey, the perfect closure for the experience that it's trying to, provide, but when it kind of surprises you a little bit with something. And I will say, this doesn't happen often, but this beer, from the taste all the way to the finish, it provided this extra element that at least I wasn't able to detect. I described it kind of like these poppy seed / clove characteristic. You mentioned sesame seed, probably depending on how your experiences are, that extra element for me at least was kind of a little bit hidden on the nose, but it just started getting stronger and stronger. And the more you wait, and the more its presence, and it just fills that extra space, creating this incredible.
Yes. It fills that extra beer space.
Exactly. And when I use that term, it means because it's a 3 on 3, my friend. And it is. This is a very, very good 3 on 3, my friend. For me, what now?
Oh,
now it's getting heated. It's getting heated. It's hot in here.
It's really hot in here under these lights, under these beer lights. Okay, one last reading before I make my verdict here. You know what? Every time you go in for a sip, you get that aroma.
Yeah.
It's perfect. What I love about this beer is everything's consistent. From the aroma to the taste to the finish. It's all, for me at least, it's all the same characteristics. For me, toasted bagel, toasted sesame, that specific St. Viateur bagel I mentioned, with an underlying layer of banana, clove, some maltiness. It's consistent. Nothing is different. There's no surprises, but there's nothing lacking. It's so balanced. Nothing's overwhelming. Nothing gets tiring after a couple of sips. Oh, it's a 3-on-3 finish for me too, buddy.
Oh my goodness, what's happening?
Okay. Now, we're treading very carefully here because one category left. The overall beer experience from beginning to end. How would you rate Paulaner?
So,
Oh, look at that
One thing-
carbonation.
that I think a lot of times we've discussed it occasionally, but it doesn't always come into the conversation. Drinkability, sessionability, however you want to call it,
Yeah.
right? And I think that sometimes there are some beers that are shining because they have incredible drinkability, and some others that are more like unique, and they end up having a perfect score in one of the two category. But it's very difficult, and at least in my personal opinion, to find one that like fits within the two. It's usually like, for me, it ends up being one of the two. I must say, this beer is the first time that even throughout the experience, and obviously it's the only first experience, but I'm not feeling any fatigue the more I drink it. It's actually
I know.
exactly the opposite. I want to
Yeah.
drink more of it. But still,
Yeah.
every sip delivers from the beginning to the end with a very unique experience.
You're getting me
that, like,
excited.
keeps you engaged. I gotta give it a 3, my friend. Like this to me is very, very well done and incredibly surprising. So what do you think, my friend? Like, it's all the weight on your shoulders now.
I'm sweating. Got the beer sweats.
Take a sip, my friend. You deserve it. You deserve it.
I look at the head on this beer. It's really like, I'm just amazed by this beer. Visually delicious. With wheat beers, I've always had a love-hate relationship with wheat beers. I find, even though we have 2 wheat beers already on our perfect beer round table, it's just funny to see.
Right? And then you say, oh, we don't really like them, but we kind of do.
2. We have 2 on the perfect beer round table. Even so, I find most, I think, a lot of wheat beers that I've tried, and maybe that's just the bigger brands. I mean, getting used to, growing up drinking Blue Moon, which was in Canada, Rickard's White, and also Hoegaarden. There's great things about those beers, but there's also sort of like hand in hand with that strong negatives that sort of weigh the experience down the more you drink it. Whereas this is by far, and this includes, and this would be a fantastic versus battle to do, this versus the Weihenstephaner. I think this might, just from memory, even eclipse the Weihenstephaner slightly, but I still would love to do that versus battle. It's a 3-on-3, buddy. We have a perfect. For the first time it's been like a year.
At least, man. At least.
Since we've had a perfect beer. My friend, this is a perfect beer. Ring the beer gong. Where's the beer gong? Get it. I never thought this would happen again.
So here it is. Here it is. And for the first time here next to the microphone. Let it resonate.
I don't even know where this means so much. This has so much impact on the channel right now, on the Beer Brackets universe.
It does.
Because now we have to do a VS battle with this versus the reigning ultimate beer, Guinness Draft. And to be honest with you, buddy, I don't know who's going to win.
It's going to be a mystery. This is quite unique. Quite unique.
I don't know who's going to win. Guinness Draft has all those intangibles for us, and so it holds that throne in the Beer Brackets universe. But oh my God, if there was ever a challenger that could possibly, category to category, take it to Guinness Draft, it might be this beer. This is a momentous day in the Beer Brackets world, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know down below. Have you ever had the Paulaner wheat beer? What do you think about it? Did we rate it too high? Did we rate it too low? Should we have given it higher than a 4 than 5.5? You let us know. I am honored for everybody that joined us for this, because we haven't had a perfect beer in so long. This was unexpected. And as always, if you do want to get future Beer Bracket episodes, if you do want to get that ultimate beer battle with Guinness Draft versus the Paulaner Weissbier to see if Guinness Draft holds the ultimate beer throne, You have to click that little beer bell down below.
Click it.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. No matter what you do, don't forget to close your beer brackets.